Well, ladies and gentlemen, CNN is now going lower than ever. I said this earlier. CNN has now gone lower than when they did fake reports from Atlanta. Jaco claiming he was in Iraq getting bombed with fake sirens going off. He was actually in a studio in Atlanta. CNN, believe it or not, has gone lower than that with the way they have covered the kidnapping and torture of the white mentally disabled person. And now they have come out and attacked our very own Paul Joseph Watson for what? Just calling it like it is. Now, the amazing thing about this to me is, why are they attacking Paul Joseph Watson? Was Paul Joseph Watson the one that kidnapped somebody, scalped them, forced them to say things, hogtied them? No, I don't think that was Paul Joseph Watson. Why does CNN want to demonize Paul Joseph Watson or Donald Trump all day long, or white people, but they won't demonize the people that actually committed these heinous acts? It's pretty amazing. They'll use the caveat, well, I just want to say that these acts were despicable, but Paul Joseph Watson is the worst human being ever, but it was all because of Donald Trump. So they just cast it aside. But, you know, Barack Obama has now come out and said that these were despicable acts. I think he's just doing this lip service. So here's what I will say. Do you think Barack Obama is going to bring the victim of these attacks to the White House? He hasn't extended that invitation yet, to my knowledge. He extended an invitation to the leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement because they're victims, right? So justifying all of the hate that he's fomenting for black people to have against white people or police or Donald Trump. So he's okay to foment all that hate and claim they're victims and bring them to the White House. But I haven't seen an invite to the victim of this torture and kidnapping invited to the White House. And for some reason, I doubt that invitation will be extended. But before we get into more of the absolute lunacy out of CNN and Barack Obama, here is the clip of CNN on the heels of this absolute heinous act being done, whether black, white, it doesn't matter. This is a heinous act from one human, a group of humans to another, and they want to demonize everybody except the people who actually committed the heinous act. Here's CNN attacking our very own Paul Joseph Watson.
Paul Joseph Watson from the conspiracy website Infowars was quick to tie the case to the Black Lives Matter movement, tweeting, "This is the Black Lives Matter tear the MSM has legitimized." The connection debunked by police, saying there is no evidence to show this terrible attack is linked to the Black Lives Matter movement.
They have this problem with Paul Joseph Watson wanting to associate this with Black Lives Matter. All of a sudden, they're all stringent on, oh, it has to be exactly. You have to find the association. Did they march with them? Did they give funds? Are they associated? But they have no problems using vagueness, making things up, associating things callously all the time. Look back to when Black Lives Matter started with Michael Brown. How did it start, folks? Hands up, don't shoot. They said that this was a racist attack on Michael Brown. What did an investigation prove? What did the truth end up being? Michael Brown was somebody who, actually, if you look at the law, his strong arm battery and robbery is actually, the police officers can use deadly force in bringing down the victim. I wish that that's not the case. That's not what I want to see happen. But if you just look at the case, that's what went down. And it turned out that he actually charged the cop. This was a out of control individual who, because of his behavior, ended up getting shot by police, not because of his skin color, folks. But this is where Black Lives Matter started, okay? But CNN has no problem associating what happened to Michael Brown with racism, associating what happened to Michael Brown with cops. But when Paul Joseph Watson makes an association with this event and Black Lives Matter, well, all of a sudden they're up in arms. So here's the thing. Maybe we can directly correlate these people to Black Lives Matter. Maybe we can't, but it's the Black Lives Matter effect. It's the media effect, how they have justified things like this going on, how they've made it okay for people to make a game of this. Take a look at the knockout game. We've got all of these people who think it's fun to just go around and assault people. They call it the knockout game, tourist victim of knockout game. You just walk up to somebody and assault them, you punch them, and it's a game. It's some sort of a game. And when you're, a low-life nitwit that has nothing better to do and you don't want to, build a life for yourself or a family or a career, I guess this is what happens to you. But it's the mainstream media and Obama that have more or less justified black people feeling victimized by police or white people. They have justified anything that Black Lives Matter does in the name of slavery, in the name of victimhood, in the name of virtue signaling. And so these people go out, they have no fear to do the knockout game. They have no fear to kidnap a white person and scalp him. And it's so bad that they're even going to do it on Facebook Live. That's how comfortable they have become because of Obama and the mainstream news. Now, here's some other stories. CNN. Where are you on this, CNN? High school girl viciously assaulted for supporting Donald Trump. This is one story of many. She gets beaten at her school, bloodied for no reason, sitting at a lunch table. And again, it's not because of race, but you want to play the race card. We'll go ahead and play it. Black girls beat up this white student because she supported Trump. They are, and this is the saddest part, they're actually attacking the black people. They're acting like they're standing up for black people. No, actually, you're the victims of the mainstream media. They're actually using you to foment the racial violence. They're virtue signaling and trying to claim all these false narratives to make you feel like you're under attack when we're all under attack. This is an agenda to take our whole entire country down, to destroy our society so that we can't get along. And they won't talk about the girl who's viciously beat up for being a Trump supporter because a black person thinks Trump is racist. They won't talk about this person who gets his car jacked and he gets beaten up brutally in the street by black people because they think he's a Trump voter and because he's white. This is all fomented by the mainstream media. This is all fomented by Barack Obama. And whether or not you can directly tie these people in to a Black Lives Matter protest or march or funding, you have to understand, just like there's a Trump effect with political correctness and nobody believing the mainstream media, there's a Black Lives Matter effect where it's becoming so mainstream and so popular that these are victims, these are black victims of the propaganda, now feel justified to go out and attack white people in the name of Donald Trump. But CNN will tell you the exact opposite and then blame Donald Trump, blame Paul Joseph Watson, never admit their own blame. And you know what? It's amazing. I've got Rob Dew, who's helping us produce this right now. He witnessed this. I talked to Van Jones about this exact thing on the streets in Cleveland at the Republican National Convention. And he himself had to admit that when they run with stories and run with narratives, they foment some of this violence and some of this aggression. So where is the mainstream media going to be? Is Barack Obama going to extend an invitation to this true victim to the White House? Is the mainstream media, CNN, ever going to take blame for any of these attacks that continue to go on? Or are they going to continue to foment the racial division? Are they going to continue to justify these hate acts that are being perpetrated on our country in the name of Donald Trump being a racist and white supremacists, the ones that elected him? No, folks, the American people elected Donald Trump of all color, all races, and all creeds. It's time for the lies of the mainstream media and CNN and Barack Obama to be washed away and be gone and out of our lives. I am praying to God that a Trump administration and a Trump effect will not just change the liars in our government, but also end the lies and the deception of the mainstream media. This is Owen Schroyer for Infowars.com. CNN, it's not Paul Joseph Watson's fault, it's yours.
Everyone knows that Infowars funds our operation by selling high-quality products that we use and that everybody needs at very competitive, affordable prices. And so I get questions all the time over the years. Why don't you sell body armor at InfoWarsStore.com? Or why don't you have sponsors that sell body armor? And it's simple. I will only promote and I will only sell the very, very best out there. And there's a nexus point. There's quality versus price, and those 2 points have to come together. National Defense Labs and its civilian subsidiary, Citizen Armor, has given Infowars the exclusive on distributing to the American people the true next generation in body armor.
Basically what we're bringing to the Infowars team is a new line of dynamic, lightweight body armor. It's nanotube technology. It's created here in Texas. It is lighter, more flexible, easier to wear, more comfortable, and stronger than anything else on the market. We used different pistols, different calibers to test different pieces of the body armor to ensure that it was up to the high standards that we expect to carry here at the Infowars store.
Born in Texas, made in America, exclusively available at InfoWarsStore.com right now. The backpack body armor is only $200. And we shot everything you can imagine at it. Again, fund the InfoWar. Get the game-changing nanotech tubes from Buck Rogers. It's a win-win. $200. Go check out all their different products at InfoWarsStore.com. It's amazing.